Hello there. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly, and tonight we're going to create a cute fall gift card holder that I think would be perfect for coffee cards. Fall is the time of giving homemade goodies and homemade gifts, and fall feels like coffee with friends. This set uses the Sweet Days of Autumn paper pack as well as the Coffee with Friends stamp set, among a few other cute little things. Now, this crisscross pocket card is actually a set of cards that I created for my monthly Stamp It Up bonus kit for my paper crafters. I don't do a lot of card tutorials because I typically leave that to the master card makers, but I do create a set of cards every single month that are a little bit repetitive. I like to find a card style that I really love and then create 4 or 5 of those for my paper crafters each month and put them in a pre-cut kit. Now, I call this kit my Stamp It Up bonus kit because I create all the pre-cut pieces that they need and they stamp it up with the stamps of their choice. So here I created a set of cards with the Round We Go dies, which I absolutely loved. It made a rosette, so colorful. I did that with the Enjoy the Ride paper collection. The next month I created with the Frosted Forest dies, the tree dies, which I was in love with, and then the next month I created using the Secret Garden collection, and one of my favorite card styles is the mini bendy. It makes such adorable cards. They lay down flat so they fit in a standard envelope, but then they pop up and stand on your desk, and I absolutely love this style. And then last month for September I used potions and spells and created these playful and fun cards. I added a few Cricut cuts to it and some bubble wrap stamping in the background to create a fun element. So this month for October, it's going to be crisscross pocket cards. Now, I was inspired by this crisscross pocket card scrapbook layout that I made years ago using the Stitch Together collection. It was a longer and deeper crisscross pocket card, but the concept was the same. So again, we're using the Sweet Days of Autumn paper collection. We're going to use just the die out of the keeping tabs set for the top of the gift card holder to be able to pull out the gift card from the pocket card. We're going to use a little leaf from the Changing Leaves collection. I've done a lot of projects with the Changing Leaves collection and it's absolutely adorable, amazing, but I love the little teeny tiny leaf inside that, and I thought it would be perfect for this collection. I'm going to create the coffee cup out of the More Than Autumn set, which has this cute little latte cup, a little pie, a donut, some great sentiments, and all of these collections have stamps and dies that are sold separately or together in a bundle. And I'm going to create bits and pieces out of each of them, and then a little later on in the video I'm going to be adding Coffee with Friends for the sentiments, which is a new one that I'm in love with. Now, I reached back into my stash to my close to my heart slimline die here that have scalloped rectangles, and then I'm going to also add the faux glass dots with all these great fall colors. Now, the first part that we're going to create here will be our base, which will be a 3 by 11 piece of cardstock, and then to create the pocket, we're going to need a 3.5 by 4 3/4 willow white piece. We're going to need a piece of pattern paper that is 2 3/4 by 3 3/8, and we're going to be cutting that. We have our little pieces here. We have our little coffee latte cup. We're going to have a little piece that I'm going to fit right inside that little scalloped rectangle there, and it actually is 1 3/4 by 2, but I trimmed a little hair off of each side to fit it inside the odd-shaped rectangle. Now I dug in my stash and found a Stampin' Up! Embossing folder that made the nice corrugated lines, and I found a scrap of craft paper that I did that embossing on, and then I was going to cut that to 3/4 and 1 1/4 to make the front part of the coffee cup, and we'll review that. But we need a 3 by 11 piece of cardstock, and I am using, I believe it is called curry, yes, crushed curry, and we're going to score that at 3 5/8 and then again at 7 3/8, and that's going to make our pocket. Then we're going to also score the 3.5 by 4 3/4 white willow piece that's going to hold our gift card, and we're going to score that at 2 3/8. Now you can just fold it in half and score it in half, but it actually scores out at 2 3/8. So I'm going to press those edges down so they're nice and smooth and flat, and we're going to do some additional cutting on those, but in the meantime we'll grab all of our other pieces. So I have this scrap piece of craft, which I embossed with the lined embossing folder to make it look like the corrugated part of a coffee cup. And I'm just going to trim out 3/4 by 1 1/4, and then we're going to trim that down a little bit further. We're going to put that on the coffee cup and trim around the coffee cup so that it actually fits it perfectly. So I'm going to place it on the coffee cup from the More Than Autumn die set, and then trim around about where I want that to be. And I just think the texture in that, by using that little corrugated embossing folder, really makes it look a lot more realistic. Now I do have a tiny little 1/8 inch piece of glitter paper that we're going to trim around that as well. I think I start with 1 1/4 inch piece that we're going to trim down. Now I'm going to use the tree pattern, and we're going to cut it on a diagonal so it fits on the crisscross part of the pocket card. Now you want to make sure that your trees are upright, so whichever side you're going to use the tree side on, you want to make sure that you cut it upright. You could put a ruler across that, draw a line, and fussy cut that out with your scissors, but I'm actually going to put it right on my paper trimmer, and I'm going to put from point to point in the trough of the trimmer, and it makes it so easy just to get it perfectly cut. Now I have 2 halves for the crisscross pocket card, one for the right side, and then I'm going to flip the pattern over for the opposite side, and I'm going to use the early espresso graph paper from the Sweet Days of Autumn paper there. Now we have a little work to do on our crisscross pocket card, our little mini, because we want the flaps to fold over and crisscross over each other. So again, we're going to cut from the score line at the top to the point at the bottom on either side. And again, you could draw that line and fussy cut that out with the scissors, but I love being able to just put it from corner to corner on the trough of the paper trimmer, and then I can just cut that edge off. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to repeat that performance on the opposite side from the score line all the way down to the point of the cardstock. And now we have created the crisscross pocket card, the outer portion. So easy and really, really quick to do. I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape onto my little corrugated piece here and go ahead and finish a couple little pieces that we're going to decorate with, and then pop that up and give that just a little bit of dimension on top of the coffee cup. Such a cute little set. I love it, and I love how mini it is. So when I used the deeper pocket cards on the stitch together set. I love that too, and I could put hidden journaling in it. So these types of things work great on cards as well as scrapbooking pages. I'm always looking for really cute interactive elements on scrapbooking pages, and the crisscross pocket card is great. Now you can also create the crisscross pocket card to be a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 as well instead of this mini size. I'm actually adding the glitter paper strip to the bottom of the cup just for a little added element, just to jazz that up a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add a little bit of liquid glue to the top. And I actually cut the top of the latte out of white glitter paper. I thought that little texture in the glitter paper really made it look more like the whipped topping and gave it a little bit of sparkle. We always love a little bit of sparkle, don't we? Even though these are more muted fall colors, I really love adding just a little bit of glittery to that. Now we're going to add the tab from the Keeping Tabs set to the back part of the pocket that's going to hold the gift card, because we're going to want to pull it out from the back and then pull the gift card holder open from the front. That reveals the gift card inside. So I'm going to put the front part of the tab on the front of the back part of the folded white willow piece and then fold the back tab over. Now we've created that nice little tab that will pull the card out. Now we can go ahead and add the triangles that we created to the front of the crisscross pocket card. Make sure that your trees are upright, or any pattern that you create. Sometimes it's easier to create these triangle pieces with universal patterns that can go in any direction. So if you're using a pattern like I am with the trees, you're going to want to think about which direction or which pocket on the right or the left that you want those pieces that have to be directional, that have to be a certain direction. So we'll add those to the flaps, and that is just how easy it is to be able to create those crisscross pockets. We're going to adhere the crisscross pocket together. I'm just going to use a little liquid glue. You could use a glue dot, and I'm just going to do it on the very tip because we want it to be able to be open on the inside of the pocket, and we don't want so much adhesive on that it stops the gift card holder from inserting inside. And we'll do some decorating on the top of that as well. But now you can see it's going to fit that card easily inside it, that gift card holder easily inside it. We're going to do some stamping though, and so I'm going to pull out Coffee with Friends. I'm in love with Coffee with Friends. I just used this set on a beach layout that I did, and I'll link that in the description, and I used little bits and pieces of this because I really loved the sentiment. So I pulled out some inks. I have a little pecan pie, and I'm going to stamp Thinking of You on the upper right of the outer part of the card. So you're going to want to make sure to kind of fold it and think about it for a minute and think about the part that's going to show and the part that you're going to pull out. Now I'm just going to partially stamp the girl that's looking off in the distance with her coffee cup, and I think that's perfect to say I'm sitting here drinking my morning cup thinking of you. So I'm stamping her also in pecan pie in part. The bottom part of her is not going to stamp, and it's going to be perfect. Now I'm actually wanting to rub just a little bit of pecan pie up in the upper corner over the Thinking of You, just for a little added element of interest. And then I'm going to take my Stampin' Right Old Olive marker, and I'm just going to rub a little bit over that sentiment again to just help that stand out. It's a really quick and easy technique that you can do on cards. And Then we'll do a little bit of coloring on the girl with some of our Stampin' Blends. But I think while we have our inks out, I'm going to use a little Old Olive and a blending brush and blend that on the white piece that's going to go inside the scallop square. I get a little bit too much on it, and I usually am really careful about rubbing off, but I get a little too much on it, so I flip it over and I'm going to use the other side. I just want a little glow in the background. The leaf and the bling is going to be on that part, and that's going to be that little decorative focal element that holds our little latte cup. And I'm loving that so far. I'm going to add a little liquid glue on that, add that to my little scallop square, and it'll be golden. I thought that these would be great for my October Stamp It Up kit, and I'll link in the description how you earn my free bonus kit with a minimum purchase. I'll link that in there, and you can learn all about how I do a Stamp It Up bonus kit every single month. Because I am so 99% into scrapbooking. I don't often, like I said, do card tutorials, but I do create these Stamp It Up bonus kits for my Snips by Kelly paper crafters to satisfy the need of the scrapbookers. We usually all need at least a few cards every month, right? So that takes care of that. And then it's also an element for the card makers in the group where they do have some card options every single month as well, where most of my work is done in scrapbooking workshops. So I'm using a little ivory on the skin tone. I'm using the crumb cake on her hair. And I am pretty predictable and I don't always trust my color judgment. So I really trust Stampin' Up's judgment. So I typically will go with markers that coordinate with whatever paper line I'm using. So I'm using Cajun Craze on her sweater. And then I'll use a little bit of the Misty Moonlight on her jeans. But we're going to use a little bit of blender pen on the jeans to make her jeans look faded in the right spots. But I typically, and I was this way and close to my heart as well, the recommended colors for a paper collection or a paper suite are typically the colors that I gravitate for initially, at least when I'm doing coloring. Instead of trying to figure out colors that match, I typically go with the colors that coordinate with the paper, and you typically cannot go wrong. It's really an easy way to coordinate your markers with your paper collection. And then by coloring my my bits and pieces with the colors that are in this collection, I'm just pretty much guaranteed that they're going to match. And I don't have to worry about being matchy-matchy myself because I'm not so matchy-matchy. You wouldn't want to see my outfits. They don't always coordinate. So now I'm just going to use my blender pen and I'm going to blend out like her pockets, the cuffs of her jeans, maybe around the knees, a little bit on the thigh, just to make them look a little bit more like an authentic pair of jeans. And I'm happy with that. Now, one thing you should note is the marker does bleed a little bit through the back. So if you don't like that, you're probably going to want to insert another little decorative layer on the inside, but it's right over where the gift card's going to be, so it doesn't bother me a bit. The gift card actually covers up the bleed, so it's kind of up to you. It's 6 to 1, half dozen to the other in terms of the way you would like to do it. Now I'm adding foam tape to the right and to the left. I don't want to add foam tape to the middle because I don't want it to stick to my pocket card or to my gift card holder. So I want to leave the middle open. I'm going to add a little adhesive on the right side of the coffee cup and add that to that focal element. I'm going to tuck in my leaves that I created with the Cajun Craze cardstock. I used early espresso cardstock. I used crushed curry cardstock. I used old olive cardstock, a little bit of, let's see, the the Cajun Craze, and then some craft cardstock in there. And then there was one other color. Gosh, the other green, the darker green, and it's escaping me. I've just got done using this on my Season of Green and Gold collection big time. I'll post that in the description. And that's how easy that is. You can check out in the description how to earn my free bonus kit, or you can use this tutorial and simply create cute little mini crisscross pocket cards of your own. Shoot me a comment, hit like, share, comment, and subscribe, and come back soon for more on Snips by Kelly.